Hello, great people. The US President Donald Trump has announced a new pathway to obtaining US citizenship called the Gold Card Visa. The Gold Card Visa, for you to be a beneficiary of it, you need just a token of 5 million US dollars. Yes, you heard me right, 5 million US dollars. The Gold Card Visa is a replacement to the popular EB5 visa. What is the difference between this visa? Who are qualified to have it? What are the merits and demerit of it, and how will this affect the US local migration policy, and of course the politics in the third world state as well, particularly from the aspect of the political elite? We'll be dissecting these issues and more on this episode with your short blog, Dr. Omosholadeji. If you are yet to subscribe, please do well to subscribe to this channel. Now let's dive into it, my people. You will recall that when Donald Trump became the president of the United States, he made attempt to revoke birthright citizenship. Birthright citizenship means that if you are born in the United States, you are automatically a US citizen. Trump said no, that has to stop, that the United States is too generous. But now, Trump wants to bring up a gold card visa that if you have 5 million US dollars, you can be a beneficiary. The difference is this, and this is where the problem lies. Is it Does it not make sense for a child to be born in the United States, and the child will acquire the values of the United States, will acquire the culture of the United States, will know about the do's and don'ts in the United States while growing up in the United States, other than for somebody that have lived somewhere that is exposed to another culture, another value, another orientation, another beliefs? Just because the person has 5 million US dollars, that person now has the opportunity of becoming a US citizen. Let us look at it, that if Trump truly loves his country, is he not a child that is better than an adult that has already acquired different values and different approach and perspective to life? So you want to question why Trump want to revoke birthright citizenship but now bring in the gold card visa for 5 million US dollars. It is the reasoning of a capitalist. Don't forget that Donald Trump is a capitalist, and that is the way that capitalists reason. They are mainly for profit. The birthright citizenship will not bring US $5 million. Rather, it will take from US infrastructure, US resources, and the children will go to school. The US will cater for them and all that. But the birthright, the gold card visa, you are the one that is bringing your money. But at the end of the day, what if you are not now a good person? And the US might have a thorough vetting system. But the question is that if 100 people benefit from the gold card visa, there may be just one or two of them that would in turn harm the United States, and just one person is enough. And that is why the government of the United States needs to be very careful. Now, what is the gold card visa? There have been misconception in the public domain that the gold card visa is an outright citizenship. No, it is not. The gold card visa is a pathway to citizenship. That means that if you spend your 5 million US dollars, you'll be granted permanent residency. So you can only be a permanent resident. But the difference is that the benefit attached to the gold card is a bit higher than that of the popular green card. But you won't be granted a citizenship immediately. So that means that you still need to spend some time in the US. In the green card, it is reportedly 5 years, but in this case, it may be lesser. That's one of the advantage of the gold card. Now, why is Trump replacing the EB5 visa? Do you recall that anything that has to do with the Democrat or the Obama, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, the top opposition figures, any of their policy usually doesn't go well with Donald Trump. And in this case, Trump feels that the EB5 visa, which you need just 1 million US dollars for you to be a beneficiary of it, Trump said, well, it is too cheap and it has been marked with fraud and a lot of irregularity. So for that reason, Trump is now trying to eradicate the issuers of the EB5 visa and now bringing forward the gold card visa, which will now cost you 5 million US dollars. Now, what qualifies you for the gold card visa? I think I've said that, which is mainly 5 million US dollars. And one thing in answering that question, that what qualifies you, you see, I think if you have that money, that means you are largely qualified, in the sense that when Trump was making the announcement, they asked Donald Trump that, okay, what if people from Russia, who happens to be an open enemy of the United States, wants to benefit from the gold card visa? Would they be permitted to? Trump said yes, that the Russian people can benefit from it because he knows some good oligarchs, in quote, in Russia. Oligarchs means few rich privileged individuals. You can call it oligarchs or oligarchy. You can read more about it online. That means the few privileged individuals in a country. So he said he knows some rich people that could benefit from it. Now, what are the other issues associated with this visa? One thing we must look at is, how does this gold card visa compares to that of other countries? Well, it is not uncommon for countries to bring forward a visa policy in such a way that they can use it to attract money into their country. Although there has been a global debate that this kind of policy usually leads to money laundering, particularly in poor nations, in third world nations, in the nations of third world countries, African nations, and to be specific, Nigeria as well. There are concerns among Nigerian citizens and Africans as a whole that these kind of policies usually lead to migration of funds, migration of resources from the third world countries, the emerging countries, or if you like, the developing countries, to the Western world. Now, let us look at something that is very important, which is, how does this compare? The UK have this kind of policy, but UK try to tighten the policy. And it's not only the UK that has it. In Europe, and in the European Union circle, Greece has this kind of policy, and also Spain also have this kind of policy, whereby if you are rich and you have a lot of money in your pocket, you can kind of like use that money to acquire permanent residency and citizenship in these countries. Let us look at another thing, which is the Caribbean. Let's move from Europe to the Caribbean. Now, some countries in the Caribbean have this kind of policy as well, and the ones in the Caribbean are relatively cheaper. For perhaps some of you may want to benefit from it. It costs just about 200, 300,000, 400,000 US dollars for you to be a beneficiary of their visa by investment. Some people call it like that, their visa by investment policy. And some of those countries are the Dominica, the Grenada, and St. Kitts and Nevis. You can read about it online. If you have the money, you may wish to go with it. And of course, if you are kind enough, you may wish to take Dr. Omosholadeji, your favorite political scientist, along with you. That's on the lighter note, my people. Now, let us go into another realm, which is that I thought the United States is rich because when Trump became the president, he has tried to isolate himself from other countries. He has been imposing bans, imposing policies that doesn't favor the so-called allies of the United States. So for a country that is trying to stand on its own, for a country that is trying to restrict migration, for that same country to now think that he wants to bring in migrants, you want to ask that, is it for the money? If it is for the money, well, you want to ask yourself that, well, I thought the United States is rich. I thought the United States can stand alone. So on what ground is Trump bringing this policy at this point in time? Is it to attract talent? And you may want to ask yourself that the raw talent, the real talent, can they afford an amount as high as 5 million US dollars? What this just tells us is, if it is for the sake of fun, it shows that no nation at the end of the day can truly stand alone. The world has been existing for a while. We all have mingled amongst ourselves, and we all start to benefit from each other. But one thing that comes to mind is Donald Trump using this to attract his international rich friends? Could that be the case? Because Trump is a capitalist. Trump has lots of investment. He has made friends over time, in the course of his years as a living being. And you will recall the comment that I told you that he knows some oligarchs in Russia. Does he know some oligarchs in Europe that this policy might be beneficial to? So is Trump bringing about this policy for the benefit of the United States or for the benefit of his rich friends and contact? Let us look at something else that is also important, which is, will the United States investigate the source of the funds? Will US investigate the source of the fund? For instance, if Anomo Sholadeji brings 5 million US dollars, the US should be able to think that for me to bring 5 million US dollars, I don't have that anyway, but for me to bring 5 million US dollars, that means that I must have been worth way more than that. So will the United States take its time to investigate the source of these funds and be able to resist accepting these funds if it is from questionable sources, particularly if you are the leader or a political figure or coming from an African country? Because the United States will be doing Africa a whole lot of good if you can receive some of this funds. Because I can tell you for free, $5 million seems to be a huge amount to you, but I can tell you one thing, that it is affordable for African politicians. It is affordable for Nigerian politicians. You will recall that some of our politicians, the amount that you read about them that they have embezzled, it is so staggering that $5 million even seems to be a chicken change. I don't want to mention the names of some top political figures to you, but I think that some will be coming to your mind at this point in time. So you would see that in the Nigerian political space, you may be seeing poverty all over the country, but I can assure you that 5 million US dollars is an affordable fee for Nigerian politicians who have amassed wealth over time. Now let us look at the last thing on the final note. Let us depart with this, which is that wise people won't buy the gold card visa from Donald Trump. I repeat, wise people, anybody that is wise, will not buy the gold card visa policy of Donald Trump, because another government can come and reverse it. Trump's presidency is very controversial, and if by the next election in the United States, if the Democrats are able to take over from the Republican government, definitely the Democratic Party may want to reverse this policy. And the question will be that, where does that leave you and your 5 million US dollars? So if I have $5 million, I would rather prefer to go to other countries and not a country that seems to be volatile in terms of governance policy like the United States at this point in time. But I don't have $5 million anyway. If you have it, well, you may want to go for it. I wish you the best of luck. It's been an interesting time with you on this episode of Politics with Dr. Omoshola Deji. Dr. Deji is a political scientist with a PhD in political science. Do well to subscribe, turn on your notification button, catch up with my past videos, and of course, I have great, interesting videos coming your way. Till I see you again, always remember that I love you all sincerely.